Hey everybody, this is Dream, and today we have a nice 6-game slate here that starts at 6 p.m. Eastern here on DraftKings and FanDuel. Today we have a pretty significant injury report, but we do have some good games here, as you can see. Overall, though, our injury report today is rather long. Let's go ahead and get into that. Before I do that, though, can you guys smash that like and subscribe button? It really helps the channel. Really do appreciate it. Also had some really good wins yesterday. Make sure to check out Discord and come hang out with some of us and talk about lineups and stuff like that. With that said, let's get into the lineups or the injury report today. For the Heat, Bam is questionable, Hero is questionable, Martin is doubtful, Robinson's out, Jovic is out, and Kane is out. There's going to be a lot of potential for use there, especially if guys that are out are ruled out. For the Jazz, Sexton is out. For the Grizzlies, Morant is questionable, Adams is questionable, and Clark is out. If Morant's out and Adams is out, that's definitely going to open up a lot of opportunity. For the Timberwolves, Edwards and Reed are questionable. Towns is out and McLaughlin is out. That's also going to open up some opportunities if those guys are ruled out. For the Mavs, Doncic is doubtful. DFS is out and Cleveland is out. With Doncic being out, it looks like we're doubtful. It looks like we're going to have some good value from them as well. For the Thunder, Jalen Williams, that's Jalen with a Y. He is questionable. Pokovetsky is out and JRE is out. For the Cavs, Garland is questionable and Wade is out. If Garland is ruled out, that will definitely make Levert look good. For the Suns, Booker is out, Payne is out, and Cam Johnson is out. And then Chris Paul is questionable. If Chris Paul is ruled out, that will definitely open up some opportunity there. And for the Hawks, Capella is out. And for the Clippers, Batum, Kennard, and Paul George are all questionable. And obviously, the Clippers are probably going to make some other changes later on throughout the day. So we have a pretty good slate here. We got 6 games. Overall, it looks like a pretty decent slate despite all the injuries, though there might end up being a crap ton of value today. So we'll have to take a look and see how that ends up being. So let's go ahead and get into the players I do like, though. So we're going to start with Jaden Hardy for Dallas. Now, I really didn't expect to really have to talk about him, but since it looks like Doncic is out, in the last 2 games, he's played a decent amount of minutes, and as you can see, he's only had a few games all season where he played over 20 minutes, but in those games, he scored at least 20 fantasy points. His price is minimum priced here, so and he might end up starting today. So if he does become a starter, then he's definitely going to be somebody to take a look at here. Then we'll look at Spencer Dinwiddie, who should also be starting for Dallas and get a full complement of minutes with Doncic out. And he'll have some decent upside here. He hasn't been particularly great lately, but he has upside when Doncic sits. And then Tim Hardaway Jr. What you did? Tim Hardaway Jr. Looks pretty solid today for the same reason. With Doncic out, he has some upside as a result. Like I said, just the same as Dinwiddie, it's really situational when he has big games, and this is definitely a situation for that. Then we'll look at Landry Shamet for Phoenix. He's already been getting pretty good minutes because Booker's been out, but if Chris Paul is ruled out, then he'll be a super lock on this particular slate. There's other guys on Phoenix that would be interesting if Chris Paul rules out as well. Christian Wood also looks pretty solid today. He's been playing really well lately, coming off the bench, obviously. His price is still pretty fair, even though it's come up some. But if with Doncic out, he should be the leading scorer on the team. Then we're looking at John Collins for Atlanta. He's got a plus matchup here. He's been playing really well with Capella out, and I look for that to continue here. His price, while it has come up, it still hasn't come up enough to make him unuseful here. Then we'll look at DeAndre Ayton here for Phoenix. He has some nice upside here. There's not a lot of guys at center that I really like today, but he has some upside here. He's had some really big games lately, and if Chris Paul is ruled out especially, he's going to have to take care of most of the offense. And then Rudy Gobert for Minnesota. His price has come down a lot because he hasn't been playing all that well, but he does have a pretty good amount of minutes each game, and he has rebounding potential here. The only question here is if some other guys are ruled out, he would definitely get a boost as a result of that as well. Then let's go ahead and get over to FanDuel, and I actually think FanDuel is pretty good today with the pricing being better than it has been lately. We'll go ahead and take a look at Spencer Dinwiddie, who should get a full complement of minutes with Doncic likely out, and if that's the case, then he's going to be a guy that a lot of people are going to want to utilize because he has nice upside when Doncic is out. Same goes for Jaden Hardy. for Dallas. He has only played over 20 minutes in 2 games this season, but he has been really good in those 2 games, and I expect him to be valuable on the slate if he ends up starting, especially, but do make sure he ends up starting. Then we're going to look at D'Angelo Russell for Minnesota. I'm kind of anticipating that he's going to have a full complement of minutes if Edwards ends up being out. Him and Gobert both could have some nice upside in this matchup, and he's pretty cheap here on FanDuel, which is really nice as well. And then Tim Hardaway Jr., he's been playing really well when Doncic is set before, and with all the injuries to the Mavericks, his price is just too cheap today for his potential here. He's probably one of the core plays for FanDuel on the slate. Then we'll look at Mikal Bridges for Phoenix. He's been playing pretty solid with Booker out, and I expect that to continue here. But if Chris Paul is ruled out, then he'll be a must-play on this particular slate. Then we'll look at Christian Wood for Dallas, who has played really well lately. He's had a lot of really good games, and I expect that to continue. And if with Doncic likely out, he will definitely be a nice upside situation here. Then we'll look at Lauri Markkanen for Utah. He's been playing pretty good lately. He has some nice upside here and a plus matchup, and I think he's definitely viable on the slate. Then we'll look at John Collins for Atlanta. He's been playing pretty good. He has a few games that haven't been great, but overall, since Capella's been out, he's been absolutely dominating, and I think he's got a lot of upside as a result of the situation that he's in today. Unusually been good, and consistent too, with Capella out. And then finally, DeAndre Ayton, he's been playing really good with Chris Paul out for a couple games. Now, he had a couple bad games before that, but he has upside here at his price point is too cheap. I feel like here on FanDuel, a lot of guys are a lot cheaper than they should be, surprisingly. So definitely makes for a good potential lineup here. Make sure to, look at the slate and see what you think about it. But overall, I think even with all the injuries, it's likely we're going to be able to build some really quality lineups. The only real risk on this slate is if there so many guys end up being ruled out that there's a whole bunch of value plays, and then it's just like, okay, you have to figure out which value plays are the best, and there's not a ton of super high-end options available. I mean, if you look at the list here of all the players up over $9,000, almost half of them are either out or questionable today. So with that said, guys, thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to leave them below, and have a nice day.